first thing is we're going to ask our speakers to introduce themselves. So we're going to start with Nick, and we're going to go straight down. So if you could just tell us your name, the company you work with, and maybe one or two interesting facts that you never thought you'd tell a room of 150 people.
Oh, wow. So I'm Nick, from Google. The logo is an old logo, by the way, not our new one.
Oh, sorry about that. That's probably my fault.
I've been at Google for 3.5 years. Prior to that, I worked at an agency hiring across all of tech. Primarily now I focus on senior individual contributors and leadership, so managers, directors, VPs at Google. But I've worked the entire gamut from university hiring, engineering residencies, haven't hired interns, but worked with that team, to entry-level, mid-level, senior folks from front-end, mobile, back-end, you name it. Interesting fact, right? Is that the next thing? Interesting fact.
Or not.
What's that?
Or not.
Or not. I have a weird obsession with collecting Hall of Fame baseball autographs. Started when I was like 12 years old, so I think I have something like 500 autographed baseballs, posters, cards from Cooperstown, and I go every year to the Hall of Fame induction, so it's kind of unique.
All right.
Right?
So let's see from the long list of questions. So the questions that we sent you, I threw them out and I created new ones just to warn you. So I guess the first one would be, if we think about the room tonight and the candidate flow that we're seeing today at Crowded and there's some different definitions. So we're going to start there. So we would label the majority of the developers in the room, and what we see is really junior to intermediate developers. So I'm going to ask from Nick, and we're going to go straight the way down, just real quick, one sentence or so. What would you consider to be a junior developer as far as the number of years of experience, or if there's another metric for just the term junior developer? Because I think as an industry, we're having some issues with the label, and it's affecting the way that candidates sometimes are applying for jobs.
Hello?
I'll give you this until we...
If not, I'll give you this one.
I promise we're good at microphones at Google. This is a really interesting question, actually. So internally, how we review and how we categorize candidates for junior would be anywhere from 0 to 5 years. And then inclusive of maybe mid-level up to 10 years of experience. Now that's our definition and how we bucket people. We're a very flat organization as far as experience levels are concerned and like how we promote people through it. So yeah, 0 to 5 years I guess would be somewhat junior in our eyes.
Great. So Nick, what's your opinion on dev boot camps? Maybe personally versus maybe Google has a different opinion. It's a much larger company, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you my mic every time.
I keep turning it off.
Yeah. We're going to leave your mic on.
Is there a search bar? I can just type something?
Yeah, that's right. Google Home.
Okay, Google. Yeah, so about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, it was pretty unheard of us hiring somebody from a boot camp. I'm not sure who's looked into the Google hiring process or what we're looking for, but generally it's very academic, very CS 101 oriented. And the boot camps they're shortened. It's very difficult to catch up to a 4-year degree in just that short period of time. But what I recognize, and a few of my partners recognize, is there is a huge desire and to learn from these folks that are going to these boot camps. A lot of times they've completely changed their careers. They've had 4 years of experience in something, realized, hey, I've been passionate about coding for such a long time. I was forced into this by my into something else from my parents, but I'm going to take the next 16 weeks of my life and dedicate it to this to really get back to what I love. And so we actually created a program to start hiring folks from boot camps. We specialized interview panels. We put together individual prep materials for those folks, and we actually started getting the ball rolling from a lot of the local places here in New York. I've hired from all the big names, GA, Full Stack, App Academy. I know there's a few more I'm missing. I've actually hired instructors from those places as well. And now that we have a cycle of these going and we're recognizing all right, there are really smart people at these places, you may be missing some of the core skills, but you more than make up for it in all of these other things that a lot of our other candidates don't have. So passion, or the GitHub profiles, or just really smart people that maybe went for a mathematics degree versus a CS degree, or went for a philosophy degree, or something completely different, that they just bring a new perspective to the table. So yeah, we do hire from it. It is difficult, without a doubt. The curve to get ready for the process is very steep, but we've actually had a lot of success with it.
So real quick, love to hear a story of someone that you hired that you felt really comfortable with, that in the first 90 days or 120 days, you or the team realized just wasn't going to work out, and maybe it was, what was a disconnect, as an example, like a reason that something didn't work out that felt great on the intake.
So I got a scenario. It wasn't somebody I hired specifically, but somebody who hired as an organization when I was at Google. This person was extremely talented, had started 2 or 3 startups on their own, really well respected, in the marketplace. Essentially wasn't in our tracking system at all, which is hard to do, because they had never worked or wanted to work at a big company ever. We tracked this person down through GitHub, tweeted at them and ended up getting them to respond to us finally. We convinced them to come in, interviewed. Some of the highest interview scores I've ever seen in my entire life, just a complete rock star. We hired the individual, convinced him, you do want to work at a big company, here's all the impact you can have, all the tools, all the resources, et cetera, et cetera. He ended up working for us for maybe 6 months. And then I knew him personally, came to me and talked to me. He's like, you know what, Nick, just not what I want to do. It's not where I want to be. It's not how I want to do it. I've got this free spirit, and there's constraints at a big company. Yes, there are benefits of being here, but it's just not something I'm passionate about doing. So we ended up leaving. His performance internally was outstanding, just as we expected, but his heart wasn't into it. And I think it's something I've learned, and something I speak to my candidates about. Whether taking our offers or other offers or comparing things, is you've got to look at yourself, look at what you want to accomplish over your career before accepting any job.
What's the way to get into the foot in the door at Google? How does someone in this room get the attention? So, they're here tonight, so they're going to run at you, maybe offer you a beer or something like that. But outside of a room like this, how does a junior developer get noticed at Google?
Yeah, so our doorways work the same as everyone else's doorways. You push it, step in, follow with the rest of your body. We get inundated with millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of applications every year. So standing out is difficult. What I suggest to everybody is format your resume similar to how we format our job descriptions and what we're looking for and why we're looking for those things. If you know somebody at Google, that always helps. Connect with that person. Try to understand what they do, their background, how you could fit in there. Do a little bit of research on your own. Say, all right, well, this is the job I want to get into. Let's do a 5-minute LinkedIn search to see the backgrounds of those individuals. Maybe somebody went to the same university as you don't know. Connect with them, right? Small little things like that always help. Meetups are a huge way for you to get noticed, to create a connection with myself or any of my partners that do these. We host meetups at Google all the time. They're insane to get into, but try to sign up, set a calendar invite, and you can get into it. So there's a lot of different avenues at which you can do it. Persistence is the number one thing. I was persistent. My resume didn't stand out. It should have. I don't know why it didn't. But persistence is the key. I think I was persistent for 8 months before somebody ended up responding to me. And I did exactly that. I spent time on my own reverse engineering their hiring process to figure out how I could get in the door. Formatted my resume in a way at which mimicked the folks that they've hired in the past, and ended up getting a call back, and it was easy from there. Once I got the call and got in the door, I was able to show my skills, and that was about it. Yeah.
Tell us in the most condensed way that you can about the hiring process for a developer at your company. is there a coding challenge? Is technical interviews? Just I know it could be especially on the Google side, it could probably be a very long conversation. So we'll do the super condensed version of it, and we'll run right down the path.
Our interview process is pretty well documented. It's out there online. I mean, you can do it in a pretty quick search. A lot of companies are trying to mimic it over the years because it's proven to be successful. But yeah, it generally starts off with a phone interview. It's an interactive phone interview, so you're on a blank Google document connected to the internet, writing code, algorithms, answering questions, etc. From there, if we have positive feedback, we'll bring you in for a full round of on-site interviews, which is a full day on-site with generally 5 one-on-one interviews, all 100% independent from the rest. We also had like a fun lunch in there as well, but all in all, yeah, it's tense. The information's out there. We try to provide it to you as much as we can. The bar has never changed at Google. It's been exactly the same. The information has just been more accessible to people now. So if you have any more nuanced questions beyond that, I can try to help you as much as I can.
Cool.